All right, we are live here at Flat Earth School with Paul on the plane and Mitchell from Australia. Dome Life podcast reunion right here. How are you, Paul?
I'm doing great. How are you, Mitchell?
I'm
Been way
awesome.
too long.
It's been way too long, about 9 months. But I do want to point out to everyone, even though it's been about 9, maybe a bit longer months, we're still putting out more podcasts than the Flat Earth podcast. Still the number one. Still the number one annual podcast.
Still number
stream.
one annual. They haven't done one? Oh my gosh. That's turkey.
Not sure if they have or not. Just having a dig at them.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. We love you, David. We love you, Matt. But man, come on, guys. Cool.
Dragging the chain. All right, where are you coming from today, Paul?
I am in. I'm outside a town called Moria, Ohio. Oh, now we got a delay. My apologies. There's no Central Ohio right now, so I hope you can still hear me. And so I'm in Central Ohio at the Take on the World conference, and this is the second time I've had the pleasure of conference, and it's so far it's day one.
That's cool. Take on the World. So what's involved in Take on the World? What kind of speakers can we expect to hear? What kind of content? You still there, Paul?
I got nothing. Still hearing me?
Nothing?
I'm sorry, man.
I can hear you. That's all right. You can hear me now?
I can hear about every third word. I can hear about every third word of yours. Sorry, man. Is it back?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep, got you loud and clear. I was just saying, no, he's gone altogether. All right. Well, while we wait for Paul to come back online, those damn satellites. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining me, patrons, for this live stream. Special guest Paul on the plane. He's having a bit of trouble connecting, so we'll just endeavour without him. We have got 2 Pauls. All right. Thank you, patrons, for joining me. If you're listening to this on the actual YouTube channel in the future here, it is the 22nd of August, currently right now. If it's not the 22nd of August, you are watching a delayed version of this live stream. So if you want to catch us live, got Paul back here. If you want to catch us live, you need to sign up to Patreon, like all the beautiful people in chat have right now who are watching it live, 22nd of August, right now, live. And you will have full access to these streams every Friday. This week, I've got Paul on the plane. He's coming to us live from Take on the World conference. We're going to talk about the situation here in the world. We're going to talk about my new flat earth proof video, and we're just going to have a bit of fun if Paul can get back online. All right, so might go straight into screen sharing. This is real screen sharing too. If you guys have been around for my daily streams, my screen sharing hasn't been the best. It's just been an iPad. I'll add Paul back here. Think we might got you back, mate. Can you hear me? Did you want to just join as audio, Paul? Would that be a bit easier for your satellite to handle, do you think?
Dude, this is...
Can you hear me?
There's no satellites here. No satellites. I hear about every 5th, maybe 6th word you say.
Did you want to turn your camera off?
No, this is not going good. Definitely not a good place to live stream from.
How about audio only?
Didn't catch anything you said.
Or audio only? Turn off the camera? we can see you. We can hear you.
Hoping it improves.
All right, I'm gonna text you, Paul.
Oh, but I can't hear. I can't hear anything.
Did you want to try audio only?
Maybe every 15 words now. I hear one word.
All right.
Okay. Test.
We can hear you loud and clear. We can hear you.
No.
Probably just can't hear. No.
I can't hear it.
Oh, okay, Paul's gone. All right, I'll screen share my flat Earth video, which I premiered yesterday. Off to a flying start here. Thank you everyone for joining us here on the live stream, Patron live stream. Hasn't been the best start, but we will endeavour. All you lovely people have joined me for Patreon. I'm so sorry. Yeah, all those damn satellites are letting Paul down. All right, let's see if we can get something going here. So, not that one. There we go. Okay, number one, flat Earth proof. Let's go into that. Let's talk about the number one flat Earth proof here. I'm just going to play this and see how it goes. Don't get put up for copyright. I'm Mitchell from Australia, and this is the number one flat Earth proof. The premise to this starts with the sextant and how we use the sextant in celestial navigation. We look directly through the sextant at the horizon. But if you live on a globe, what horizon are you actually looking at, Globers? We'll just try Paul again. Paul, have you got us?
I'm indoors now.
Yep.
Sorry, indoors now. Now we got all the good conference. Actually, it's kind of I'm in the auditorium right now, but they're getting ready to start. They're getting ready to start another session here, but I had to go indoors. Can you hear me?
Yep. We can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Let me go try in somewhere else that I can hear you now. It was totally quiet in here, and then I came in.
Behind the scenes here at the Take on the World conference.
That was it?
There you go. All right, we're getting ready for another session. I'm going to come in here now. Oh.
Before we lost you, I was asking what kind of content can we expect at Take on the World conference? What kind of things?
It's really a good. Yeah, it's a really good mix. I'm going to try and go down here at my.
All right, we've lost Paul again. We'll go back into the number one flat Earth proof. Is it the Earth horizon? The water horizon? The horizontal reference plane? The visible horizon? How about the sensible horizon? The geodal horizon? Or the celestial horizon? Well, it's certainly not the geometric horizon. You know, Earth curve? No, that was debunked by the Black Swan over 18 months ago. But now the globe-believing zealots tell us that their horizon is refracted. It's not an actual horizon. So how do we have a tangent to a refracted horizon? When you're viewing a star... I think we got Paul back. Can you hear me, mate?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep, all good. All right, so I was asking what kind of content Can we expect from Take on the World conference? No. All right, go on again. Oh, my patrons are in for a treat today. This is awesome.
How are we measuring an angle to the horizon if it's refracted? You will never ever get an angle to a refracted horizon. This is a major problem if you think you live on a globe, because celestial navigation would be impossible. So what have you done to keep your religion of a sphere Earth semi-plausible? You've presupposed that that line 90 degrees above your head, the zenith, actually runs to the center of your presupposed spherical Earth. And 90 degrees from that, you've made up a new horizon, the celestial horizon, which you say is a horizontal plane passing through the Earth's center, perpendicular to the zenith. So, after presupposing all these things, you can now use your sextant. But globe believers, realizing that their visual horizon is refracted.
Paul, how are you coming through now? Have you got us? Audio
I can
only
hear
might be a
you.
bit better. Cool.
We'll
We can hear you, so we
I
might.
sincerely apologize, man.
That's all right. That's cool. The patrons are very understanding. Thanks for being here with us, Paul.
Just
all right, so
we gotta do this when I got satellites in Ohio. We gotta do this.
Need to bring your own portable satellite.
Take on the World Conference is a biblical cosmology conference. So all teachings are from a biblical angle. Flat Earth is a big part of this. I would say probably a good 40-50% of the presentations are going to be around something related to, a biblical view of this creation, which is obviously a flat Earth with a dome over it. But beyond that, the rest of the teachings are all, still biblically based. There's homeschooling, there's alternative medicine, there's really, getting out of all of these systems, coming out of Babylon is what we kind of phrase it. Even down to the meals that are served here are all, biblically clean food, from that sort of angle. So it's a real, it's a conference based on, biblical teaching of creation and how we, conduct ourselves in our lives. So it's a really wonderful conference. I'm really blessed to be here.
That is really cool. We need something like that here in Australia. Not that anyone would be able to go to it at the moment, but that is really cool. So you're enjoying good food, you're enjoying good company, good content. Is there any notable flat earthers there that we would know, or is it kind of more of a have to be in the circle to know who's speaking?
Definitely Rob Skiba might be somebody you've heard of. So he's the keynote speaker here all 3 nights starting tonight. So I'm looking forward to Rob when he rolls in. He hasn't rolled in yet. He's probably the only one I would say that you might know, just from kind of mainstream flat Earth, if you will. The rest of the speakers are probably a little bit more specialized, from the biblical angle. So. It just depends. I don't know. I have kind of been not in the mainstream flat Earth community so much the last, year or so. So there might be some that you would recognize.
Yeah. Did you want to go over what? Did you want to go into what you have been up to the past 9 months to a year? We've all missed you, mate. Where have you been? What have you been doing?
Let's see here. Well, yeah, once we kind of wrapped up the podcast, I started doing a lot of work in the crypto space. So we talked a lot about that, the last few shows that we did together. So I joined Robbie Davidson and Patricia Deere on a show called Axiom Today, which was a weekly show, and we did that for about 6 months ago, 6 months, I guess. I don't remember. We think we started November or December. So yeah, a good 7 months or so. We just ended that for various reasons, but still doing a lot in the crypto space. But doing it just now really as an investor and not so much a promoter, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, that was great to see you guys on today. You, Rob, who else do you have? Patricia Steer and Robbie Davidson. You guys killed it out there while it lasted. That was really fun to see you each week. Axion was going is going very well. It is a beast. If you want more information, go back to our podcasts. I think one titled something to do with crypto, where you detail a fair bit about what we were going into. Obviously, it's any investment is a risk, so this is definitely not investment advice, but that's what Paul has been doing the past 9 months to a year. So we'll get into other things. So how's things over there for you guys, as in with the whole COVID situation? Have you got many restrictions? Do you have to wear masks? Do you have to get the jab? What's going on over there?
It's nothing like what you guys are facing in Australia, from what I see on the telly and in the media. But it's much more, I wouldn't say relaxed, but the restrictions are not as severe whatsoever. In fact, starting in probably May or June, with the state of Washington, where I spent most of my time, really all restrictions were lifted for a couple of months. They just now are starting to reinstitute the requirement for masks indoors, and very soon there's going to be some other restrictions. I assume coming things are going to be locked down again and that sort of thing. So, but I'm not going to pretend it's anything difficult compared to what you Australians are facing. So we're definitely active, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it seems like we're just towing the line here in the south, just kind of the testing ground at the moment. I don't want to spread fear or uncertainty or any of that, but it seems like we're just trying to get through our winter here until you guys get back into your winter, and then it's I think it's going to ramp up again. That's kind of what happened last year. It just went in a big cycle around the earth, around wherever winter is, where people start getting. It's just that time of year where people just kind of start getting sick. From whatever reasons we've detailed before, we think it's down to lifestyle choices, the things you put in your body, the environment around you. It's got nothing to do with these things that they say is spread from person to person. Someone told me recently that they were thinking about setting up COVID camps for people who are not going to be taking the vaccine. Can you confirm or deny that? No, we've lost Paul. All right, lost Paul altogether. Yeah, flu season, Michael. All right, we'll go. John Swartz says this is the first he's heard of the star plane. I'll go back into here. So I'll keep playing the video. So I detail in this number one flat Earth proof that we have not only the flat plane down here, but also the flat celestial plane above us. Paul, have we got you back?
I'm here if you can hear me. My apologies. The internet connection that I have here is extremely full, and it just drops me at will. So
that's all right.
My sincere apologies. I'm using some Wi-Fi here. Can't use regular cell signal because there's no satellites. So
got to bring that portable.
Really well, so I'm gonna have to ask you to repeat it.
Gonna have to bring those portable satellites with you wherever you go in Ohio. It seems.
Yeah, portable satellites. Exactly.
All right, I'll go into a bit of what's happening here. I haven't really gone into it too much on my live streams. So I'm doing these flat Earth schools currently at the moment because I've become unemployable with the current situation here in Australia. I'll just go over a bit, Paul. If you can hear me, you good? Am I coming through?
Yep, loud clear.
Cool. All right, so I'm in the situation where, like I said, I've become unemployable. The work sites that I am required to go on, I'm not employed by those work sites. I'm employed by my company that I work for full-time, or did work for full-time. it is not my company putting these restrictions on me, because that is totally illegal. But it is when we need to go to construction sites. Each individual construction site has been told by the government that they need to sort their own situation out. So that if you don't have a mask, they're denying you access to the construction site. If you don't have the vaccine now, they're denying you access to the construction site. I don't think that's mainstream knowledge here in Australia yet. It's more when you go into the construction site, you have to provide evidence to these people when you do the induction to get onto the site, to actually get onto the site. So I am definitely not putting the mask of shame on, the face nappy, in order to get onto these sites. Hey, Paul, good to see you. Can you hear us, mate?
Well, yeah, while you're talking, I don't know if you can see anybody in the background, but see how many masks you can see here.
A grand total of 0, I'm hoping.
Exactly. That was my point.
Here in Australia at the moment, we are in where I am at the moment, New South Wales, our entire state is, it's gone into lockdown. It's not just Sydney anymore. It is our entire state of however many people, maybe 7 or 8 million people. And they have literally told us, as soon as we step outside of our house, we need to put a mask on. We need to put that face nappy on. And if we don't, as soon as we step outside. It is unbelievable.
Did you tell the government that the air is not lava?
There's been some great videos going around. I've tried to share a few, just to show the situation here in Australia, because people over there probably aren't seeing the full picture, but it is getting to the point where we are being very restricted in number one, our movement. And so we were told it's kind of gone in stages for the vaccine. It's all about the vaccine. They came out a few weeks ago saying these lockdowns right now, it's been going on for almost 9 weeks in Sydney here now. These lockdowns, the only way that we're getting out is for everyone to get the vaccine. So it's nothing to do with the COVID spread. It's nothing to do with stopping COVID cases, but it is everything to do with the vaccine. And they have literally said to us, the vaccine will not prevent you from getting COVID. It only lessens the symptoms if you do get it, if you do believe that that's what you get. So they've told us it's not about stopping the spread of COVID. They're calling it the Delta strain. Have you guys heard of the Delta strain over there in the US?
Oh yeah. That's what we're hearing now. It's taken over.
Yeah, it's meant to be the Delta strain. That's the big bad boogeyman now. It's the thing that we're trying to get in front of. It's not about battling the Delta strain anymore. We've been told it's trying to get in front of. That's why they're imposing these lockdowns. So the only way to get out of the lockdown was to get the vaccine. And now that they're letting people go to work now, but the government can't actually mandate the vaccine. I've gone over the laws before. It is against all human rights. It is totally illegal to have a mandated medicine. That's what the vaccine is a mandated medicine. And the government are definitely not medical health professionals, so that's another illegal avenue that they're going. But the government themselves cannot mandate a vaccine, and they know that. So they're putting it on the businesses, the construction sites, because that's a major employer here in Australia. We've got a lot of construction going on. It employs tens of millions of us. Probably, I'd say at least half of Australian workers would have something to do with the construction industry. Whether you're a truck driver, whether you're a worker on these construction sites, you've got something to do with the construction industry, and it is these requirements through each construction site that is making you get the vaccine to go onto site. So, and there's been announcements as well from the government saying we cannot mandate the vaccines, but we are strongly recommending everyone get them. So it's getting to the point where I can't work because I need to go on construction sites. I'm being denied access to construction sites. That's why I'm doing these flat earth streams right here. And I really appreciate my patrons. Thank you guys being in the chat here today. Thank you for signing up. Paul, you are one of my biggest supporters. You have
Sign up
signed
now.
up.
Sign up now so you can see this perpetually.
That's the only way everyone's going to see these streams here with Paul on the Plane, the Dome Life reunion show. Friday, I'm going to be doing this every Friday.
Rob Skiba just walked in.
Rob Skiba
just walked in. I'm seeing him over here.
Is he doing much at the moment?
I don't know. He's shaking hands and hugging people,
Yeah,
and if he comes this way, I'll grab him.
Yeah, cool. He's probably getting swamped at the moment.
Yeah.
Do your best
swamped, but if he comes this way, I'll grab him. Yeah, I'll grab him.
Cool, that'd be awesome. So we're currently is in this situation here in Australia where it's coming to the end of the school year. So schools are closed except for the high school students who are finishing their school. We've got something called a HSC, a high school certificate. And so year 11 and 12, so year 12 do the HSC. So this is kind of exams that they do at the end of their entire schooling life. The result of these exams will give them a mark which will enable them to get into a university. So now these year 12 students have been told, if you want to sit your exams, if you want to get your mark to get into university, to further your education, you need to take the vaccine. That's the situation where we find ourselves here in Australia.
Yeah, ridiculous. We see it coming here eventually in the States. I mean, that's all signs are pointing to that. We're starting to see big restrictions in the major cities like New York City and Los Angeles, where now if you want to go indoor, any indoor event essentially is going to require proof of vaccination. You want to go to a nightclub, you want to go out to dinner, you want to go to a club, a gym, anything like that. Now they're starting to, in those big cities, say you got to prove that you've got the jab, and that's probably going to continue to seep its way into our country. The question is to what extent. Are the small suburb areas, smaller areas, more conservative areas maybe going to be pushing back on that? That remains to be seen. But the big metropolitan areas are headed in that direction for sure.
Yeah, it kind of started here maybe 3 or 4 months ago with Melbourne, the kind of second biggest city here in Australia. They had really tough restrictions. Everywhere else in Australia was fine. That was kind of the testing ground for Sydney, and now Sydney's been locked down for 8, almost 9 weeks. We're meant to be coming out of the lockdown in exactly a week, but every single day, even though they say it's not about stopping the COVID cases with the vaccine, even though they say that the vaccine only lessens the effects of the said virus, they keep coming out and saying we've got record numbers of cases. People are testing. There's tens of thousands of people. That's the other thing. So in order for people in lockdown, which is the whole of New South Wales, the whole of our state, to go to work, you need to, if you want to leave your local government area, you need to get a test every 3 days. You need to get that thing shoved up your nose. You need to get a brain hemorrhage in order to just go outside your house, go to the shops, go to work. That's where this all started. And so it's obvious that if there was a virus, if they say it's so contagious, it was being spread, there's no one out and about spreading it anymore. We are totally locked down. There is no, if you apply logic to what is happening here in Australia, I don't understand if it was
logic has nothing to do with this, sir.
No, I'm not even going to mention science because it's definitely scientifically impossible with what's happening.
You better watch what you say on this stream about this subject too. You got to be careful.
I know. I'm testing the waters here.
You're going to trigger something.
I'm trying to trigger everything. I'm just testing the waters here. I haven't mentioned it on any of my other
streams. It's going to be full of sharks. Watch out. Dip your toe in. It's going to be bit off, buddy.
Absolutely. I know. I'm playing with fire here. I'm playing with fire.
You are. You definitely are.
I'm just testing the waters.
I love it. I hope you got a backup channel. That's all I got to
say. They can't give me 3 strikes at once, can they? For one video?
They'll do whatever the heck they want. That's what we've learned.
That's right. So it's not only, so everyone's still got a choice. Everyone's still got a choice whether they want to It's like YouTube. Everyone's got a choice to be on YouTube or another platform. It's everything in life. We still have the choice of consent. It is still up to your choice to get the thing in your nose, to get the thing in your arm, to put the thing on your face. All these restrictions, it comes down to personal choice and what you're prepared to sacrifice. So my wife, I'm so lucky. She is 100% with me. I've sacrificed our income in order to just, if anything, set a good example for our children. We've got 5 children. We homeschool. They're with us every day. They see everything that we do. It is so important for them to grow up with a solid moral foundation that nobody can tell you what to do. Nobody can force you to do something. There's no such thing as mandate. There's no such thing as mandatory. You still have consent, especially when it comes to something going into your body, especially where you can be free. Like, freedom's just a concept, but it is something that we all have. It is something that we all have the right to. And I encourage everyone in Australia here to just know the laws. So at the moment, I'm walking around without a mask. I'm walking around vaccine free because I know the laws. The current what we're governed by at the moment is the public health order. So please read the public health order wherever you are in Australia, because it details the exemptions that when in Australia, they've actually made it easier not to wear a mask. Before, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, they said you needed a doctor's certificate from your GP stating that you were unable to wear a mask. And that was totally illegal because nobody can ask for your medical history. You are protected under the Privacy Act 1988 of Australia. That's a federal act, so that overrides anything state-based as a federal act. So please look up that, Australians. And now they've actually made it easier. Instead of a doc certificate, which is one of the requirements, you can actually just sign a statutory declaration. So it is you just declaring that it is unsuitable for you to wear a mask. It is unsuitable for you to get the vaccine. You don't have to state a reason. You just have to make a statement that it is unreasonable. And because they've realized that it is totally illegal for police officers. That's who's pulling up everyone. Police officers, they've got nothing better to do. It is totally illegal for them to ask for your medical history. So now they're requiring a statutory declaration. So all you need to do is state that it is unsuitable for you to wear a mask, for you to have a vaccine, and that covers you. And did you want to comment anything on that, Paul?
No, I was just going to say, I mean, we talked about this when we were doing vaccine shows a year ago. It's all about knowing your rights, informed consent, and how important that is. So that stuff all carries over to our current situation. All that stuff we were talking about long before this nonsense began, that still applies. Know your rights, and know the responsibilities of the authority, of the governor, of the police, and know what they can and cannot do. If you know your rights, you can exercise those. So
exactly,
that's the important thing.
Us crazy conspiracy people here, like how long ago did we talk about this? Huh? Yeah, we're mental, aren't we? We talked about it on a very last podcast, didn't
we? We sprinkled it probably through 50 shows.
Easy. And our very last podcast, I think the last thing that we said was about the vaccine. There was no vaccine at the time. There was no vaccine rollout. But we said, didn't we, Paul? We said if it comes to the point where you have to get the vaccine, has been mandated, we're probably going to come mandate. We're probably going to come together and do another podcast, and that's what we're doing here. We've come together.
Did we? Was that okay? There we go. We'll have to do an official one though sometime, like an official.
Yeah. This isn't too official.
When I'm in my studio.
Yeah, when you've got the satellites overhead, when you've pulled them all in.
And when I've got my shirt on, that's hanging behind you.
Yeah. Can we still get this shirt on your website?
You cannot. I've only got 10 left, and they're with me, and I'm giving them out here. So.
Wow. Whoever's got the shirt, special editions.
We can make some more. Yeah. We need to update it. We got some things to update. We need to probably put some more info in the back about knowing your rights or something like that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
we gotta expand on what we've got so far.
Whoever's got one of these shirts, whoever listened to our podcast over the,
Oh
we're
man,
going for about 2 years.
Limited edition. I mean, these things, they'll never be. In fact, you got a conference specific one right there, the one you have there, Mitchell. So that one's really valuable.
This is one of the first editions, isn't it? From the
first
that you came out.
The first. Yeah, I had a box of, I don't know how many was in the box, 25 or something like that, was made for the 2019 Flat Earth International Conference in Dallas, Texas, and I took one out of the box for you and shipped it. So, and those all sold out at the conference. So, and I've got precious. One. I took out one for me, one for you, and then one of my other Patreons was there, so I gave him one. So then the other 22 were sold at the conference. So then we had another box made, and that's what we have been using to ship. We were using to ship out to everybody that was leaving speak pipes in our drawings. And
yeah, we're giving them out.
Those are 10. We got 10 of those left. 10 of those are left.
10 of those left. So we got to do another 10 shows.
They're going to be gone in the next 2 days.
Well, like you said, yeah. Giving them out.
But we'll have to do a third box. So
I've got to stop washing this thing. I didn't realize how special it was. Limited edition.
Limited. Yeah, there'll never be another. Yeah, there's only 25 of those in existence. So should have numbered it for you.
I think this was a misprint too, wasn't it? The color on it. You weren't too sold on the color.
Yeah, the other ones I think we got black and we got other colors. We just got other colors you can get. So yeah, it was supposed to be a heather gray. If you know what that is, it's kind of it's a dark gray. That's what those are supposed to be. And so the printing company got it wrong. So we got another box and we were shipping out the heather gray ones. That one was what was at the conference. And, when you get there and you open up the box, that's all you got. You got no time to get it redone. It was Thursday, Friday at the conference. So that's why it's even a mistake. It was like an error, like the old baseball cards that were error cards.
That's exactly where I was going to go.
So, rare.
So scarce. Rare. If anyone knows anything about collectibles, the misprints are the most important things in the trading world. Oh man, we've got up a massive tangent.
I like how we're comparing that shirt to like a Babe Ruth baseball card. I like that.
Oh, for sure. I'll definitely
scarce.
This would be worth 2 or 3 Babe Ruth baseball cards.
At least 2 or 3.
Oh man. All right, so I don't even know where I was going.
Where were we?
That was a massive tangent.
I brought it up. I was pointing at the shirt in the background. I don't have my glasses on, and I'm like farsighted, so I finally get focused in on your background. I can see your shirt there. So my apologies for dragging us off the beaten path here.
I think we were talking about the vaccine. We were talking about talking about the vaccine on our very last podcast.
That's right.
Yeah, so that was end of last year.
Yeah. We'll always be doing special editions, We'll always be. As long as you and I have breath in our lungs, we will probably be doing something together.
For sure. I'm going to be here. This is my thing now. So I'm going to be here 5 days a week. The 4th day with a special guest as we've got Paul on the plane here. Next week we're going to have Bob from Globebusters. It's going to be a really cool show. I think we kind of touched on the how's he called? The electromagnetic downward acceleration, I think it is. I think we kind of touched on it once. So in our podcast.
He's the expert. He's the guy that would be able to explain that. So I really look forward to hearing from him next week. That's awesome. You've been doing a great job. If anybody that hasn't caught up, seen what you've already been doing this week, it's been awesome, man. Keep it up. I've been using it as a refresher because I've been kind of out of the game, so to speak, for a while. And it's good to still hear about the Black Swan. Let's just say that.
Oh, the Black Swan. It is still running rampant. 20 months on, almost 21. Oh, sorry, Michael Kahn just corrected me. Electrostatic downward
thanks,
vector.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah,
Michael,
good stuff. That's right. It's going to be great to hear from Bob. I'm sure he's been refining things and investigating and observing and thinking even more since I last heard him kind of walk through that. So it's going to be great to hear what he's got.
And I think he's going to bring a couple of other people. Witzer gets it. I think he's all over it. And Zach, Good Times for All. I think they might turn up as well because they're all over it. It's going to be an awesome show. The only way you're going to see it is you lucky people seeing it live now, patrons. If you're watching a pre-record, if you're watching this in the future, please sign up to Patron because that is the only way you're going to see these live Friday shows with my special guests. Monday to Friday, absolutely free. You're always going to get them on location around my beautiful local area, at the beaches, on mountains, rivers, streams, waterfalls. I'm going to be taking everyone everywhere and just showing you our beautiful Flat Earth School, because the whole reason I'm doing Flat Earth School is I'm not the school, I'm not the teacher. Our Flat Earth School is all around us 24/7 since the beginning of creation. It is the thing that is teaching us. I just want to go in. I won't go into what I've been talking about, but one of my mottos I've been kind of going with is the globe. Every single proof or evidence of the globe starts with begging the question, starts with imagination. But every single proof and evidence of the flat Earth starts with our reality, starts with our Flat Earth School around us. We just look outside, we make observations, it presents itself as flat. We can measure it as flat, and now we can, well, we've been navigating it as flat, but it's been under our noses since the beginning of celestial navigation. That's where we're going to go to next. Paul, have you seen my recent upload of the #1 flat Earth proof?
No, you sent me the link, and I was traveling, and I haven't had a chance yet. So if you can put it in a nutshell, I will definitely comment on it.
Absolutely. So it all comes down to using the sextant, and the sextant only works on our flat, stationary, immovable, enclosed plane. I might actually play the video here, and then we'll go through it.
Do it. Let's do it.
Adding to
Great idea.
Hopefully it doesn't cut your internet out. So I have played a little bit of it, but this is part of it here.
Can't yet look at the horizon through the sextant. So yet another horizon is needed to be fabricated. They use the bubble level in the sextant to create the artificial horizon, which we are then told is parallel to the celestial horizon, essentially taking away the curvature of the Earth. Because even globe believers know you cannot measure an angle to a curved surface you think's beneath your feet. Look at this. You're pretending you're living on a globe, but in order to measure angles, you need to pretend you're living on a flat plane. This is cognitive dissonance, globers. You can't have it both ways. So now they can actually start and take a measurement from their 0 point of the artificial horizon to the celestial body. Look at what the globe believers are doing. They must treat what they see as flat in order to achieve an angle. But there's one more step, and this is where it all falls apart for the globe. They then have to measure from the artificial horizon a dip angle down to the visual horizon, the only actual horizon that we have. Remember that horizon that you said was Earth curve that is now refracted? Do you all realize now how devastating the black swan actually is to the globe? It has taken away your R value, the radius of your globe, and then it took away the curvature of the Earth altogether when it forced you to say that the horizon was refracted. And together with the sextant, it's now taken away your ability to navigate. Since January 1, 2020, the globe has been dead. So now it's time to prove where we actually live. May I present to you the #1.
I'm just going to pause it there for a second. Before we go into the #1 flat Earth proof, I just want to put this image back on screen of how we are told that celestial navigation works on a globe. So this image here, so I've made this image up after doing a lot of research, after seeing how the globe believers think they use a sextant on their globe. So if you think you're on a globe, you can't look directly at the horizon. So you have to use the bubble level to make an artificial horizon, which is 90 degrees to your zenith. So if you look straight up, that's 90 degrees straight up. And if you use the bubble level that's meant to be 90 degrees to the zenith. So they're not actually using the horizon. So they're taking a measure from the artificial horizon, the bubble level, which is a made-up horizon, just a bubble level, up to the star. And then they have to make a correction for the dip angle. And it's the dip angle, this bit here, that is where it all falls apart, because they can't actually look at the horizon. They think it is now refracted. That's where it all falls apart. That's where the black swan comes into it. The black swan has now forced them to say that this edge here, the physical leading edge of their globe, Earth curve, isn't, we can't see it. We can't see Earth curve. They're saying that horizon that we see, that they see, is refracted. And you will never, ever get, number one, an angle to a refracted horizon, and number two, an angle to a curved surface. So in order to make an angle, you need to have a triangle. Everyone knows what a triangle is. The base edge of a triangle, the one that runs along the ground from your feet out to the, what we're going to see is the GP of the star. It is absolutely straight. It has to be straight. Following, Paul? Paul on the plane, we still got you, mate?
Me, so yeah. Can you hear me now?
Cool. Did you catch all that, mate? Test. Got you loud and clear.
I did. Yeah. I mean, you need another angle there, so you don't have a right triangle. So
you don't have a right triangle. That's right. You can't do it on the globe. You need 3 straight lines, as Michael Kahn just said. If one of them is curved, you cannot have a triangle. So that's what the globe believers believe they're doing. They're still using the horizon. They're making a dip angle measurement to the horizon. That's what Alberuni did to get the radius of the Earth. That's what we are told. The radius was first measured by Alberuni. He went up to the top of a mountain, measured a dip angle to the horizon. I'm going to do a live stream on this, and that's how he measured the radius of the Earth. But now we're told that horizon is refracted. So it 2 ways it doesn't work. It doesn't.
At best, Mitchell. At best, you've destroyed the R value. At best.
That's what the anti-flat earthers tell us when they presented with the black swan. Have you heard of anti-flat earthers, Paul? Have you got the concept of anti-flat earthers?
Yeah, well, from you, yes, from you, I've learned it, what that is. I like how you've coined that phrase. They're not ball believers. They are, or that's kind of like you said. The globalist would be a default, because that's what you're told from when your first memory. But if you are spending time, energy, money trying to make fun of, try to debunk anything like that, you're love.
Yeah, that's pretty much a anti-flat earther in a nutshell. I actually didn't coin the phrase. That was from Nathan Oakley. They coined it over there at Flat Earth Debates. I encourage everyone to subscribe to Flat Earth Debates. They do a great show daily, just debating these people, these anti-flat earthers. So pretty much what Paul said, an anti-flat earther is just going against the flat earth arguments. Nothing else. They're not providing us globe proof, because they actually chuck their globe under the bus. They destroy their globe for what they say. They tell us that they go against Neil deGrasse Tyson. They go against the actual PhDs, that they go against the mainstream narrative pretty much of the globe. They tell us that we wouldn't expect to see Coriolis in things like hot air balloons and footballs. Neil deGrasse Tyson, PhD astrophysicist, says otherwise. People like Craig Fight the Flat Earth. He tells us that we have to treat gravity as a force, but he had PhD George Musa on his stream saying it's not a force, but you can think of it as a force. And literally, it is not a force. They're quotes from George Musa, PhD physicist, I think it was, editor of Scientific American. It is anti-flat earthers like this who just go against flat earth. So when you're presented with the black swan, you've only got 2 options: become an anti-flat earther, which is just go against the flat earth arguments, or become flat curious. And then that's the honest approach. I'm trying to get people there with my streams, become flat curious, have a good look at the flat earth arguments. All right, so I'll just mute you there, Paul. You can unmute yourself when you're Nope, I'll mute you. You still got us, Paul?
I can hear you now. I can hear you.
I can hear you.
I can hear you now.
Cool. All right,
You were,
we'll go into
you were
the number
breaking
one.
up on my end.
All right, we'll just go back into the number one flat earth proof. All right.
Horizon that we have. Remember that horizon that you said was Earth curve that is now refracted? Do you all realize now how devastating the black swan actually is to the globe? It has taken away your R value, the radius of your globe, and then it took away the curvature of the Earth altogether when it forced you to say that the horizon. May I present to you the number one flat Earth proof? Here in reality, we live on a flat plane, and this may be news to people. We also have a flat sky plane above us where the celestial bodies exist. From the vantage point of our flat plane, when viewing the celestial bodies, we perceive their position and movement as a dome. This is purely our perception from this vantage point on our flat plane. It's not actually a dome above the Earth. All celestial bodies rise in the east, move in an apparent semicircular motion above the sky, and set in the west. Now, don't get me wrong, our Earth is measurably, observably, and obviously contained, but it just doesn't have to be a dome shape, or any shape for that matter. But I digress. Looking at this flat celestial plane above our heads, we can see that everything rises in the east, moves across the sky, and sets in the west. We just perceive a motion of a dome shape.
I think I just kicked Paul out. Sorry, Paul. I wanted to get your take on this notion that we have a flat sky. It might be new to people that as we go further into it. Sorry, Paul, we got you. Paul, I think I kicked you out. Sorry. I tried to stop screen sharing, but I got you instead. You there, buddy?
Oh, good. I thought it was my internet that died again.
No, that was me. Apologies. So, can you see the image on screen?
So,
yes.
Cool. So, have you seen the concept of a flat sky?
No, I'm not. I mean, I can picture it. But yeah, it would be observably a dome, you know, the stars. But yeah, I can see where you're going.
So the concept I'm trying to put across to people is, yeah, we see we view the stars as if they're going in a dome motion, a dome shape, and I've never really been an advocate for the actual dome. Our podcast was called Dome Life, but it was more a tongue-in-cheek sort of name. Well, for me anyway. For lots of people, they take it literally as we live under a firmament, which could be a dome shape. But I'm going in the direction of this is how our sky presents itself, but it's really a flat plane above us. And I show this with perspective using a drone. I'll go into the video a bit more unless you want to comment on that, Paul.
My internet's failing me now. I'm hearing every third, fourth word again.
All right, we'll go back into the video.
Let me give you a real-world example of how this works. This is Lake Woolloomboola, quite fittingly the breeding ground to black swans, and, I kid you not, located on Black Swan Way. Now, relative to the horizon, if you look up, straight up above your head, 90 degrees, to where my drone is sitting, right there, 90 degrees, what will happen when that drone moves straight ahead in its own flat plane? It's not going to change altitude. It's just going to move straight ahead. From my observer point, what's going to happen? The angle is going to change. The drone has not changed attitude at all. It's just changed the distance from where I'm observing it. If it moves again, the angle changes again down to 25 degrees there. As it continues to move away, or if I move away from it, it'll travel towards the horizon, lowering in its angle, and eventually it'll get so far away that the angle will be too small for me to see, and it will appear as if the drone has set. This is all relative to the observer point. This is all apparent. It's not actually lowering. It's just getting too far away and the angle is decreasing. This creates that dome motion and movement that we see in the flat plane of the celestial body.
Did you catch most of that, Paul? You still with us? Paul on the plane, are you still coming to us live from?
No, sorry.
That's all right. So I was going into the concept of if we have a drone directly over our head and we're viewing that at 90 degrees, if you push the forward stick on the drone is staying the same altitude. It's not lowering, but to your perspective point, when the drone moves away from you or you move away from it, the drone appears to decrease in angle. And that's what we can measure. I was measuring in the video with a theodolite. And the further the drone gets away from you, remember it's not dropping in elevation at all. It's staying in its same kind of flat plane above us. The further it goes towards the horizon, it appears to go down. It will even appear to set. And I am kind of giving the notion that's what we may be seeing in the stars. We could have a flat plane, a flat celestial plane above us. It just presents itself as a dome shape. Do you want to comment on that, Paul? I think you're still muted.
That's what's separating the waters from above from the waters below. Oh, you can't hear me? I'm unmuting this end.
Yep, you're good now.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Yes, I believe there's waters above, the waters below. That's what there's a rigid barrier of some sort that's keeping us from being, affected by those waters above. But as far as how the celestial bodies work and appear to us, yeah, could be, absolutely. I mean, it would make sense because that would be something we could duplicate in the natural world, like you said, and observe it with a drone, the sun, things like that. So, I mean, yeah, possibly.
And that's just the concept that I'm going with. It appears in a dome shape, but it could absolutely be a flat sky parallel with our flat ground. And it kind of, as the video goes along, it kind of becomes apparent. I don't think I actually put it in there, but if we actually did have a dome motion, a physical dome motion of the stars above our head, they wouldn't present themselves as they do. So they all present themselves as kind of a perspective change from wherever we are on the Earth. The globe proponents, the anti-flat earthers, say that this is due to the curvature of the Earth. You're going around. That's the only reason why the stars lower in their angle. I think it's 1 degree is like 60 miles, something like that. Yeah, that's what we observe here on our flat Earth. It has to be a flat Earth because that's how we navigate. But it doesn't have to be. The sky doesn't have to be a dome. The ground beneath us doesn't have to be curved. It is all due to our perspective point. That's just kind of what I'm putting across. So if it was a physical dome that the stars move across, or if we were on a globe, we wouldn't see the stars present themselves like this. As we move away, they would change the angle more drastically than they are. It all lines up just with perspective. That's just the notion that I'm putting across anyway. Before we go on, how much time have we got with you, Paul? Are you still good to continue, or you have to run? Oh, we got you. How much time have you got with us, Paul?
About 5 more. It's getting pretty loud in here. Sorry.
Cool. That's all right. I can probably finish this on my own. I may go through the presentation on my own after we finish what we're doing here. Is there anything else you wanted to go over? Is there anything else you want to let people know before you leave?
Saying we got to do this again when we don't have any technical difficulties, and we can do it right.
Absolutely. Yep. This is just a trial run. This is my very first. You're my very first guest, inaugural guest. I thought it was only fitting that I give you the opportunity to be my first guest. After all you've given me, Paul, I really appreciate the platform that you gave to me. I definitely wouldn't be here doing this today without your help, with your support. You're awesome, mate. This shirt just sums it up. Paul on the plane. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us here today, Paul.
Thank you so much, and we definitely got to do it again. So let's get to something. Sorry about the internet here, man. It just didn't work out.
That's cool, man. These things happen. My patrons definitely understand. It's good to see your face. Everyone in the chat saying thank you, Paul. Much love. You're awesome. They want to see more of you, so hopefully, yeah, we can definitely do this again.
Like me.
What was that? Oh, I think we're losing Paul again. All right, I'm going to say a final farewell to Paul. Thank you for joining us, Paul. I really appreciate it. Thank you for joining us on now.
Love you guys. Chat soon.
Have a great time at the rest of the conference. Chat soon, mate.
Great job, Mitchell, as always. Talk soon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Paul on the plane. He was having a bit of internet troubles. That's all right. It's just our first time here, first stream. Thank you for putting up with it, patrons. I think it's just Michael in the live stream here. Thank you, Michael, for sticking around. You're awesome, mate. We also had who else we have in the stream? John Swartz there. Thank you, John. I'm just going to shout out my patrons, everyone who has this link available to them at the moment. I'm going to be putting this out. If you're listening, it's if you're listening live, you already have the link to it. But if you're listening now and it's not the 22nd of August. You're listening to a pre-record of our first inaugural Friday special guest sessions, and I just want to go through my patrons, the people who have made this possible for me to do. So I've got BMLS69, the person who brought you the Black Swan. He's my patron. John Swartz, Brian Leakey, Alec One Show, Michael Kahn. Thank you for being here, Michael. Malcolm Foster, Angie S, Bob Nodell from Globebusters, Dawn Judds, Paul on the Plane. He is another Patreon. Michael as well. Thank you for being here. Who else do we have? John and Michael. Thank you for being here in the live stream. You guys are awesome. I couldn't expect a better reception in my first week. So we're going to go through the rest of this number one flat Earth proof.
As a dome to our perspective point down here on the plane that we exist, we can understand how the celestial navigation actually works. Every star in the flat celestial plane has a position relative to our flat plane where it will be 90 degrees. This is called the geographical position, or the GP, of that star relative to our flat plane here on Earth. When the observer is at the GP of the star, it appears 90 degrees above their head. Celestial navigation works by using a sextant to measure the angle of that known star and using its relative GP, geographical position, to know where you are. And I'll continue to point out that measuring angles to celestial bodies only works if we are on a flat plane. Now, if one observer measures 30 degrees to a star, and another observer measures 30 degrees to that same star.
Man, Mike was just muted. Thank you.
They are both on what's called a circle.
Apologies, my mic was just muted. So I was going over. Thank you, Michael. That's why I have to have people in the live stream here. So I was just going over this bottom line here has to be absolutely flat to get the angle, this 90 degrees angle here, that has to be flat. It cannot work if you're on a curved surface. And this observation here, this angle, this straight line here, the horizontal line that we're seeing is from the observer point to the horizon. That can't be possible if you say you have a refracted horizon, because that's not how celestial navigation works. You need to see the visible horizon. We only have one horizon. You can't make up horizons, the celestial horizon, the sensible horizon, all those horizons, they're not real horizons. We have one horizon. That is it. It is the visible horizon that we measure with the sextant, and it has to be a straight line from our observer point using the sextant to the GP of that star. And we can't get a 90-degree angle without that flat line. And similarly, we can't measure an angle from our observer point to the star without the flat line. There is no triangle. There is no triangulation.
Of equal altitude. And this is another killer blow to the globe right here. Everything on that circle of equal altitude is exactly that, equal altitude. No matter where you are on that circle, you're going to measure 30 degrees. And through being able to measure an angle to that star relative to the horizon, everything on that circle, in between that circle, in the area of that circle, is absolutely flat and level. By doing this once with a sextant, you know you are somewhere on that circle of equal altitude. To triangulate your actual position, you need to repeat these steps with other stars. Your position is where all these areas of equal altitude meet. This is how celestial navigation works and has always worked on our flat, level plane.
Bloody hell. Mic was closed again. This is horrible. All right, so I'll just go through what we're seeing here. This is how celestial navigation works. We have to minimum, when using the sextant, when using celestial navigation to find your position, we have to minimum use 3 stars. So the first star here, 30 degrees. The second star we'll see with the sextant, 20 degrees. Third star, 15 degrees. So the only way that this works, getting a measurement to their GP, because we know where their GP is, which the GP being where the star is directly over the Earth, 90 degrees. Because we know those positions, if you were at the GP, it would be 90 degrees. Because we know we're 15 degrees away from it, we can measure that. We know how far to that GP. So we're creating areas of equal altitude. So you could be anywhere on that circle, which is these circles right here. So we're creating these circles of equal altitude. You could be anywhere on that circle, but by doing it multiple times, a minimum of 3 times with 3 different stars, where that point there where all 3 of those or more overlap is your position. That's how celestial navigation works. That's how you find out with the sextant on a flat, level, enclosed, stationary, measurably flat plane. That's how you find out where you are on this Earth. That's how it's always worked in celestial navigation. And we'll keep playing this video.
Plane using the celestial flat level plane. Let's use this small scale example on Lake Woolloomboola. Instead of a drone, we're going to use a star. So if observer A measures an angle to the star, and observer B measures an angle to the same star, both angles are the same, 30 degrees. Knowing the GP of that star, they can conclude that they are on the same circle of equal altitude. Distance between observer A and B and the area inside that circle is all in the circle of equal altitude. It is all flat. It is all the same level. This is the killer blow to the globe. Not only is our world observably and obviously flat, it is measurably flat, as I'm about to show you in this next large-scale example. The rule of thumb with celestial navigation is to use stars over 15 degrees in elevation, because under 15 degrees, we start getting a lot of refraction, as you can see in these moon images. And this is real refraction, where something moves relative to the horizon, not the actual horizon itself being refracted, as anti-flat earthers would like to tell us after seeing the black swan images. So, if an observer was looking at Polaris from 15 degrees latitude, negative 60 degrees longitude, here near Dominica, they would measure 15 degrees to Polaris. And if another observer was on 15 degrees north latitude and 120 degrees longitude, they would also observe an angle to Polaris of 15 degrees, because we know the distance between these 2 points are absolutely flat on the same circle of altitude. We can measure between them and we get 10,375 miles of flat Earth and ocean. And that's been nice to the globe. We can definitely see Polaris on the equator and even sometimes below the equator, which is a much larger distance of flat area, Earth, and sea. Let's do this north to south now. If someone was at -75 latitude looking at a star with a GP on the equator, we would be on the same area of equal altitude as someone looking at the same star from 75 degrees latitude. Knowing that between these 2 points has to be absolutely flat, let's measure between them. 10,375 miles again, with an area of 84.5 million miles. Absolutely measurably flat.
So I just want to pause it here for a second. This is just one observation that we can do. One observation from 75 degrees, either north or south latitude, looking at a star on the equator that we know their GP is above the equator. So that is keeping in line with only using celestial objects 15 degrees or more above the horizon. This area here, that's the area of equal altitude that we're now measuring. We're somewhere on this area of equal altitude if we're measuring 15 degrees to a star on this equator. That's just one area, 84.5 million miles squared area. That's just one observation. I will continue.
Miles. Absolutely measurably flat. But it doesn't stop there. Look at this map with all the GPs of the navigational stars on them. And the reason why...
I just want to stop it here again. This map here, this is awesome. I was so happy I found this map. This has the GPs, all those red dots there. They are the GPs of all the emergency navigational stars. There's a lot more GPs that we know of, but all these red dots, they are the GPs of navigational stars. This is almost like the flat sky plane being layered over the flat Earth plane. So we're looking down, and every dot is 90 degrees from that star to that point on our flat plane. I couldn't be more happy with this map here, and this is where I kind of it becomes more apparent that the sky above us is flat, because if it was a dome shape, we would have different angles from the sky to the Earth. Like if it was a dome shape, the stars would kind of go away from us more drastically. I don't think we would be able to have these star trails as we see them if it was a physical dome that we're seeing from the actual stars are going in. It's definitely not from a globe. And I'm going to do a show about the lack of parallax and how it's definitely not viewing stars on a globe. I'm going to do that this week, thanks to BMLSB 69. That's another great couple of videos and great point that he's brought up. But yeah, this map here, right here, is why I'm asserting we have a flat celestial plane above our heads. And the images that animation that I showed before is how that flat celestial plane with the stars in it presents itself as a dome. It's just our perspective. So using this map, this is how we're going to get to the #1 flat Earth proof and measure our entire world, our entire known world, as absolutely flat.
Why this is the #1 flat Earth proof is because using just one area of equal altitude proves that that large area that we're navigating on is absolutely flat. But by doing this multiple times to create multiple areas of equal altitude, we can literally measure our entire world as flat. Just so you understand the enormity of this proof, we can literally measure our entire world as flat.
So they're just a few. I've only put maybe 7, 8 observations of a couple of these stars from the map. So if we were observing here or here, we would see the GPs of stars around here, that green area of equal altitude is created from observing one of these stars here. The purple one is from observing one of these stars around here. When we observe multiple stars, which you have to for celestial navigation, the more stars you use, the more accurate your location is going to be. So where all those circles of equal altitude meet is where your position is. And the more you do that, the more accurate it is. That is, it's triangulation. It's just the basics of how celestial navigation works, has always worked, always will work, and will work right now. That point there, the observer point, is where all these circles of equal altitude meet. And remember, the circle of equal altitude must be absolutely flat. So the more times you do this, the more area of flat Earth that you're actually measuring. So we had that measurement of 84.5 million miles squared. That was just from one measurement. Imagine we can literally physically measure the entire viewable world, our entire known world, as flat. This is the #1 flat Earth proof. The entire world has been measured as flat. It's not something that's just happened right now. It's been under our noses the entire time. But this is the #1 flat Earth proof. We can literally measure our entire world as flat. I'm so excited to be bringing this to you guys. I haven't got much of a response yet from people. I think it's still sinking in. I think people are still grasping how celestial navigation works and how much of a killer blow this is. But hopefully after seeing this stream of me kind of explaining it a bit, why it is the #1 flat Earth proof, because we can literally measure our entire world as flat. And we have. It is something that has been going on since the beginning of celestial navigation. It is something that works, something that all sailors can use. Anyone, you can be an amateur. You can just get a sextant, maybe a theodolite even, and measure from the horizon to a star, a navigational star. And if you know the GP of that star, you can get the circle of equal altitude. And they're measuring at least minimum 3 stars. You can get 3 circles of equal altitude. You see your position, and that's your position. If you do it multiple times, even more, the more you do it, the more accurate it is, the more area that you're measuring as flat. It must be flat to get the angle. It must be a flat surface to get that bottom angle of the triangle. You are measuring the entire world around you. Millions, tens of millions. Who knows how big our world is, but we are measuring it as flat. I just want to conclude with the last bit of the video.
We are living on a flat Earth. 2020 was the year of the Black Swan. 2021 is the year of the Sextant. There is no more debate. The globe has been killed. The flat Earth has been proven. This is the #1 flat Earth proof. Wow. There is no more debate.
And I just want to end it here. Yeah, Michael, the truth always comes out. Sorry, I wasn't seeing the chat. And also, I've just got in contact with a pilot, a flat Earth pilot that wants to come on the show, wants to tell us how he uses this navigation. He's reviewed this video. He has concluded that, yeah, it is a brilliant representation of our flat plane. That's exactly how we use the sextant. I'll get it in his own words. I'll get him to review it with us another time. But this is how navigation works on our flat Earth. It doesn't work on a globe. It has never worked on the globe. Like I said, every single proof of a globe starts with begging the question, starts with imagining that you're already on a globe before you've even proven anything. But every single flat Earth piece of evidence, every single flat Earth proof starts with reality, starts with us using the world around us to prove where we are. And that's what you have to do. Get out of imagination land. Don't assume where you are. Look out at the flat world around you and just see how flat it is. It presents itself as flat. It measures as flat. It is observably, obviously, measurably, navigationally flat. And that's where I'm going to leave you guys. Thank you, Michael, for being in the chat. Thank you, Patreons. for being here with me. I'm going to probably edit this video and put it out for everyone else to see, because I think it's a really important video. Thank you, John, for being here as well, John Swartz. If you're watching this after the fact, the only reason that you didn't see this live was because you weren't a member, weren't a Patreon. I really appreciate my patrons. Thank you guys again. If you want to see these live shows on Friday with our special guests, today we had Paul on the plane. Next week is going to be a massive show. We're going to have possibly 3 massive flat earthers. Bob Nodell is going to be the main presenter. He's going to be presenting the electrostatic downward vector of it's going to be excluding globe. This is great when we can get to the point where we don't need to include globe believers or anti-flat earthers in our discussions to have a discussion, an honest discussion about the flat earth around us. So it is all excluding gravity. It is all excluding the globe belief. We don't need to get into that at all. All we need to do is view what we have around us, use our reality, and that's what I do every single day here on Flat Earth School, and that's what I'll always be doing. So I want to leave you with the notion, if the world feels like it's turning on you, turn to Flat Earth School. Thank you everyone for being here. Until next time, enjoy this beautiful Flat Earth School we live on. Peace everyone.